Good evening, everyone.
Okay, okay.
So we have this extra lecture on Tuesdays and for the next two Tuesdays to cover up for the missed lectures. I have put up the assignment 4, so please start working on that. Okay. All right. So are there any questions or concerns pertaining to anything we discussed last time?
So, will you do bipartite matchings today?
Right.
Okay, fine, fine.
Okay, so we proved Baird's theorem, 16.3, which says that the matching is maximum if and only if there is no augmenting path with respect to that matching. All right, so that gives us it's sort of a characterization of maximum matchings, right? But let's see if we can get something more concrete, like a like a co-NP characterization. Because how do you convince someone that the graph does not have an augmenting path with respect to a given matching, right? So it's not easy to convince someone whether a particular matching is maximum or not, right? So let's try to see if we can get some results which are more like NP or co-NP characterizations. Okay, and let's start with matchings in bipartite graphs. Okay, so in in many topics in graph theory and especially in matching theory, which is the study of matchings and perfect matchings, etc., there is a very clear distinction between bipartite graphs and general graphs. By general, I mean all graphs. So for a lot of problems, the bipartite case is significantly easier, but it is still not trivial. Okay, it is still quite interesting, but it's significantly easier than the non-bipartite case. Okay, and that's exactly what's going to happen in this module, as you will see. Okay. So let me introduce some notation. So when I write G square brackets xy, I mean this is a bipartite graph with color classes x and y. Right? Bipartite is the same as two colorable. So I'm thinking of x as the black vertices and y as the white vertices, for example. Okay? So if I'm already giving you x and y, that's already a bipartition that is given to you. Okay? And let's ask a question. Under what circumstances does a bipartite graph GXY not have a matching that saturates X? Okay, so what do I mean by saturating X? I mean each vertex in X is saturated, right? So it's matched to some vertex. So if you don't like saturated, it's the same as saying that the vertex is matched. Okay.
So, here
So
it is assumed that mod x is less than equal to mod y.
okay, so that's a good point. So clearly, if you want a matching that saturates X, right, then you need the number of vertices on the right hand side in my drawing to be at least as many vertices as the number of vertices on the left hand side. Right? So clearly, if y is less than x, then there is no such matching. Okay? Good. So that is the first answer. Clearly, you need the number of vertices in Y to be at least the number of vertices in X. Okay. What else? Can you give me another situation? So now let us suppose that Y is at least X. Okay. Now, does it mean that the graph has a matching that saturates X?
Not always.
Not always. So, can somebody give me a situation where this such a graph will not have a matching saturating X?
Like, so
Hmm.
if you have two vertices in X, X1
Okay.
and X2, and they
Okay.
both are connected to Y1 and
Okay.
Y, then you can,
So they both are connected to one vertex.
yeah,
Okay. Y1, let's say. But are they connected to any other vertices?
no.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, yeah, okay. So, like,
Hmm.
you can have extra vertices in Y,
Okay. So you can have more
two,
vertices here,
yeah, two,
but these vertices are not connected there, right?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So can you generalize this, or can someone generalize this? So if there are two vertices x1 and x2, and they both have only one neighbor, then clearly we have a problem, right? So the neighborhood of x1, x2 is exactly one vertex. So let me say the cardinality is 1. Then there is no such matching. By such I mean saturating x. So can you generalize this?
So I think if we take any subset of capital X,
Hmm.
we call it say capital S.
Hmm.
So now we are looking at neighborhood of S in capital Y.
Okay. Okay. And what do you want that neighborhood to look like?
So if the cardinality of that, so if there is a matching saturating X,
Hmm.
then it must be the case that cardinality of the neighborhood, cardinality of n of S should be greater than or equal to mod S.
Right, right. In other words, you're saying that if there exists a subset S in the set X such that the neighborhood has fewer vertices than the set itself,
Yeah, then there cannot
right?
exist a matching saturating X.
Then there does not exist a matching saturating X, right? So let's make a drawing. So if you can find a set S, so let's say this has three vertices for the sake of example, and let's say the neighborhood has only two vertices, right? In this case, because all the edges from S go into this neighborhood, which is the by definition of neighborhood, right? So what will it look like? The graph will look like this, right? You will have edges like this, you may have edges like this, and you may have edges like this. But the point is that these three vertices, they only have two neighbors, so there is no way you can match all three of them, right? Okay. So is this observation clear? Turns out this obvious problem is actually the only problem. Okay. So that is called Hall's theorem that you may have seen in your previous courses. So this is theorem 16.4. It's Hall's theorem. I think it was proved in the 1930s, but I don't remember. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So a bipartite graph G XY has a matching which saturates X if and only if such a set does not exist. Okay? So we can say that for every set, this condition does not hold. So for each subset of the set X, the neighborhood has cardinality at least the size of the set S. Okay? And notice that this condition implies in particular that the cardinality of Y is at least the cardinality of X, because you consider S to be the set X. Okay? So there has to be at least as many vertices in the set Y as the number of vertices in the set X. Okay? So we have proved one direction. What is that direction? If it has a matching which saturates X, then this condition must hold. That is what we have proved. Okay? And it remains to prove the more difficult direction. So if this condition holds for every set, then we want to show that the graph has such a matching. Let's prove the contrapositive. Let's suppose the graph does not have such a matching, and then we will show the existence of a set that does not satisfy this condition. Let gxy denote a bipartite graph that does not have a matching that saturates X. Okay. And our goal is to show existence of a, let me call it a deficient set. Why is it deficient? Because it has too few neighbors. So it is deficient in the number of neighbors it has, right? So deficient set is a set S such that the neighbors are too few in this sense. Okay? So how do we show the existence of such a set? Well, the only tool we have at this point is Baerge's theorem, right? We know that whenever you take a maximum matching, it means that there are no augmenting paths with respect to that matching. Okay? So clearly, if we take a maximum matching, it should not saturate all the vertices in X, right? Because we don't have such a matching in this graph. So let M be a maximum matching in G by assumption there exists an M exposed vertex in the set X. Okay? Otherwise, it would saturate X, and that is the contradiction. Okay? Let us suppose that U is such a vertex. Right? So, in particular, U belongs to X. All right, so we have such a vertex U in the set X. So I'll draw X on the bottom and I'll draw y on the top. Our goal is to find some set here. The set we'll find will actually contain u. We will find some set here, S, whose neighborhood will be too small. Okay? Smaller than itself. So that's our goal. How do we go about doing this? All right. As I said, the only tool we have is Verge's theorem. We don't have any other tools in matching so far. Right? So we want to use Verge's theorem to do this. So let's consider the following. Well, U is an M exposed vertex, right? If there was a bigger matching, which won't happen because M is a maximum matching, then you would have augmenting paths, right, in this graph. So we won't have augmenting paths here. So let's think about alternating paths. Right? Let's look at all the vertices that can be reached from this vertex U, which is an M exposed vertex, using M alternating paths. Okay. So let Z denote the set of all vertices reachable from U by an M alternating path. Maybe let me make it clearer. By some M alternating path, right? So we are not looking at one path. We are looking at all possible paths that start at the vertex U and reach some vertex. All such vertices that are reachable using such paths, they will be in our set Z. And those are exactly the vertices in our set Z. Okay? So what does an M alternating path look like? Let me just remind you. Let's say M is red colored matching. Okay?
So
Yeah.
basically, Z is a subset of Y, right?
No. They are all the vertices. In particular, U is included in Z because U is reachable from U. Okay? So it could be vertices in X and vertices in Y.
Okay.
Okay, let me give you one example of an alternating path. We are going to start at U
No,
because
but
U is MX. Yeah.
other than the vertex U, it cannot contain any other vertex of X.
Why?
Because an M alternating path must be an odd length path.
No, that is an augmenting path. An M alternating path does not have to be an odd length path.
Okay.
Okay, right? We are not going to have augmenting paths. So that is why we are considering alternating paths. Okay,
Okay.
so such a path will look like,
Okay. So since M is a maximum matching, we cannot have M augmenting paths.
right.
Okay, let's see what M. Okay, fine.
Okay,
So we can, sir, so
yeah.
we can say that cardinality of Z intersection Y
Hmm.
is less than cardinality of Z intersection X.
That is what we want to claim. You are right. We are going in that
Yeah,
direction.
this follows because there is no M augmenting path.
Right. That's right. So we'll prove that. Right. So let me just show you an alternating path. So, so let's see. So I'm going to draw paths of both parity just so that there is no confusion. Okay? The parity is not determined. In fact, an important point to note is if you take any M alternating path, any subpath of it is also an M alternating path, right? So you could remove the last edge, and if you had an odd path, it would become an even path. And if it was an even path, it would become an odd path, okay? So if there is some such path, it would look like one of these two paths that I've drawn, right? So you start from U, you have to take a non-matching edge because U is M exposed, right? Then you have to take a matching edge and so on. Okay? And where you end, I don't care, right?
Okay, so the first is always a non-matching edge.
Right. Because
And the
U
last
is
one,
M
yeah.
exposed.
Okay, and the last one can either be matching or non-matching depending on
Exactly.
parity.
Exactly.
Parity.
So which means if there is such, if you look at one such path, all these vertices are in Z because they are all reachable using this path or some subpath of this path. Okay? Okay. So, so now what we are going to do is we are going to think of this set Z as being two parts, right? It is going to be those vertices of Z which are in X and those vertices of Z which are in Y, clearly. Right? Some are going to be in X, some are going to be in Y. So let's make a drawing. So, and U belongs to the first set. So let's say this is Z intersection X. And let's say this is Z intersection Y. Okay, we don't know the cardinalities right now. Whatever my drawing suggests, that doesn't matter. Right now, we don't know what the cardinalities are or how they are related to each other. Okay, and then you have the remaining vertices, which is Z bar intersection X and Z bar intersection Y. Right, where Z bar is all the vertices of the graph minus Z. Okay. Right? Is everybody happy with this partition of the set of vertices into four sets? Okay, good. So, how are we going to proceed now? So, what is going to be our set S? So, we need to find this set S. Does anybody have a guess on what is this set S? Which one of these four sets is it going to be? We still need to prove it. What is the deficient set that we have to prove? Yeah, Kapil?
Z intersection X.
Right. Okay. So let S be the set Z intersection X. In fact, let's not even do that. We will show that Z intersection X is a deficient set. Okay? That is what we want to show. How are you going to show that? So well, as from the drawing, you imagine that we want to show that this is the neighborhood of this set and its size is smaller than this set. So those are the two things we want to show. Claim the neighborhood of Z intersection X is exactly Z intersection Y. Okay, we'll prove this. One. And two, the cardinality of Z intersection Y is less than the cardinality of the first set, sorry. The cardinality is less than Z intersection X. Okay. In fact, we will show something slightly stronger. We will show that it is exactly one less than Z intersection X. So if Z intersection X has 5 vertices, then we will show that Z intersection Y has exactly 4 vertices. Okay. So let me make it a bit sharper. We will show that it is equal to this one minus 1. Okay. And if we show this much, then we are done. Do you all agree? So it suffices to prove this claim. Okay. So let me just say that the proof is done. We just need to prove this claim now. Okay. All right.
I think
Yeah.
first one is very easy to follow because if some vertex in Z intersection is, so you have to show that neighborhood of z intersection x equal to z intersection y,
Yeah.
and we know that means z intersection y will be a subset of n of z intersection x from the way we define these sets. So if
Why?
because so we are starting from an exposed vertex u
Hmm.
and we are reaching by an alternating path.
Hmm. Okay.
So means if some vertex in z intersection y is not in n of z intersection x, then how can we reach that vertex starting from u by an alternating path?
Okay. Okay. So you're saying that z intersection y is a
Is a subset
of the
of
neighborhood of this set,
z intersection x. Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So let's make sure that everybody is on board, right? So let's look at any vertex here. Okay. Well, what does it mean to be in this set? It is in the set Z. That means that there is some way to reach this path using m alternating paths, right? So, well, these paths start at the vertex U. So you could go like this. Then you would have to use a matching edge. So I'm going to put matching edges in curly so that I don't have to keep changing colors, right? You use a matching edge, then you use a non-matching edge, and eventually you get to this vertex. But the very fact that you can reach this vertex, it means that you got here using some vertex of z intersection x. So it has to be a neighbor of z intersection x. Right? So all the vertices in this set are definitely neighbors of z intersection x. That part is clear. Okay. What is not yet clear is that these sets are exactly the same. Right?
Yeah, means that we can prove by contradiction. So we have to show
Okay.
that z. So we have shown that
No,
z
I'd like
intersection.
somebody else to answer this one. So let's see. So what does it mean that these sets are exactly the same? What does it mean that these sets are exactly the same? One of these edges do not exist. Either these ones or these ones. Can someone tell me? Yeah.
We won't have edges from Z intersection X to Z bar intersection Y.
Right. So we want to show that such edges do not exist in the graph. Okay. So we will show that there do not exist, there does not exist any
Sir,
edge.
it follows from definition of Z bar, right? It's simple, I think.
That's it. There does not exist any edge with one end in the bottom left, which is z intersection x, and other end in the other side, which would be this set. Okay. So, Kapil, can you explain why such edges do not exist?
Because otherwise, what will happen is
Hmm.
uh, a vertex from Z intersection Y would be in Z,
Hmm.
because we can reach to that vertex
Hmm.
by following a path from U to Z intersection X, that vertex.
Okay, so let me call
From
this
that,
V and let me call this W. So,
yeah,
where do you
so
reach?
V
Yeah,
belongs to Z means that there is a path from alternating path from U to V.
right, right. Okay,
And
and
then we can
now?
go to W.
Aha, exactly. Right. So the very fact that the vertex V, so let's suppose there is such an edge. Okay.
But sir, I still
Suppose,
have a question. I still
yeah.
have a question.
Hmm.
So we know that we can reach v from u via an alternating path.
Hmm.
And if we add that edge e to the
Hmm.
alternating path, then what
Hmm.
is the guarantee that that path will be still be an alternating path?
It is an alternating path by definition.
No, no, no.
Um, hmm.
From u to v, we are reaching via an alternating path.
Hmm.
But when you add that
You are
edge
just
e to the
extending an
alternating,
alternating path in a path like
You are confusing alternating paths with augmenting paths. If you take an alternating path which ends at a matching edge, and you put any non-matching edge at the end of that path, you get another alternating path,
Okay.
right?
No, no, I am
If
not
you have one
confusing. I am
alternating
not
path,
confusing.
okay, supposing this is an alternating path from U to V, do you agree that because U and V belong to the same color class in the bipartite graph, the alternating path will have to be of even length, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so if it is of even length, it
So
started
it
with a
must end.
non-matching edge, it has to end with a matching edge, right?
Matching it. Okay, yeah.
Right. So now if there is any edge from V to a vertex W, well, because this is a matching edge, this has to be a non-matching edge by definition of matching. And now you can add this edge and
Okay, I
you get
got it.
another alternating path, right? Okay.
Yeah, I got it, sir. Got it. Got it.
So, yeah, so there are some things to be spelled out. Supposing there exists such an edge, such that U belongs to Z and V belongs to the other set, Z bar, right? So it belongs to Z intersection X and V belongs to Z bar intersection Y. Okay. Now, this implies that there exists an M alternating UV path, um, and this path, let's call it P, and P ends at an M edge, an edge in the matching. Okay? Which implies that E does not belong to the matching and P union E is an M alternating path. Right? But then it would mean that the vertex W, sorry, I called it U and V, my bad. I meant to call them V and W. But then it would mean that the vertex W should be in the set Z because it is reachable by a path. Right? And that is a contradiction because W by choice belongs to Z bar. Okay? So we can't have any such edges in the graph going like this. And that means that all the neighbors of this set are actually contained in Z intersection Y. So this implies that the neighbors of Z intersection X are contained in Z intersection Y, and therefore these sets are exactly the same. Okay? Okay, so we need some more space. So we have proved the first part, right? All right. So what do all the edges of this graph look like? All the edges of this graph, there are three possibilities. Either they connect the bottom left to the top left, or they connect the top left to the bottom right, or they connect the bottom right to the top right. Okay? These are the three kinds of edges in this graph. Good. So this kind of an N shape that you see here, this appears a lot in matching theory. Whenever you study matchings in a lot of different situations for bipartite matchings, you see this N shape. Very common in bipartite matchings. You might see it on some of your assignment problems in assignment 5. Okay. So what's next we need to show? We need to show that if the set Z intersection X has exactly, let's say, 5 vertices, then the set Z intersection Y will have exactly 4 vertices. Okay. How do we show that? Anyone?
Okay, so none of the edges from Z intersection Y to Z bar intersection X can be part of the matching.
Okay, why?
Sorry.
Why?
Oh, otherwise you could otherwise you get an augmenting path.
Right,
No,
right, exactly.
yeah. So
Yeah.
well, not an augmenting path. The same argument. You get an M alternating path that ends at Z bar intersection X.
Yeah, you start here, you take, whenever you reach the other side, it is using a non-matching edge. Whenever you reach Z intersection Y, it's a non-matching edge. And if you have a matching edge, then you will take that and you will get an M alternating path. You're right. Okay.
Basically, it's a bijection.
Right. Okay.
That's
From
one.
Z
And then
intersection Y,
Okay.
uh, like
yeah. So now
Yeah.
since that is the first observation that all matching edges must be um, all matching edges that go away from Z intersection Y should go to Z intersection X.
Hmm.
That is the
Okay.
first observation. That's
Okay.
what I said that the cross
Right.
edges.
That's right.
The
The
second
cross,
observation
yeah, the
is
cross edges are
basically
not in the matching. That is clear. Okay.
basically though no M alternating path ends at Y, ends at Z intersection Y. So from Z intersection Y, we can take a matching edge and go to X. So the
Hmm.
correspondence from that vertex in Z intersection Y to
Hmm.
its matching partner in Z intersection X use a bijection.
Hmm. I see. Okay. And Shrikant, can you complete your argument?
Oh, yeah. So all the vertices in Z intersection Y
Hmm.
are saturated because
Okay. Okay. So I think you both are on the same along the same lines. So basically, the point is that all of these vertices are actually saturated vertices. Why? So let's prove that. So uh, we claim that Z intersection X, sorry, Z intersection Y, the whole set is M saturated. Okay. So why is that true? Let's look at any vertex in the top left set, Z intersection Y. Right? What does it mean to be here? It means that you are able to reach using an M alternating path. Right? So what would an M alternating path look like? It would look like this, and then it would go here. Okay? Well, if this vertex is not matched, then you have an M augmenting path. Okay? So this is by Berger's theorem. So the this is due to Berger's theorem. It has to be right. It's an odd length path. If you have an odd length M alternating path where both the ends are exposed vertices, then that is basically an augmenting path. Okay, so it has to be a matched vertex, right? And that means that you will be able to take the matching edge and reach some vertex on the other side, right? The matching edge cannot already be in the path, right? It has to be a new edge. So you take that edge and you reach the other end, right? Okay. And in particular, this also shows that the other end has to be in Z intersection X. The matching edge has to end in Z intersection X because you have an M alternating path. So by definition, it has to be in the set Z, the other end, right? Furthermore, each vertex in Z intersection X is matched to some vertex in, sorry, I meant Z intersection Y. Each vertex in Z intersection Y is matched to some vertex in Z intersection X. Right? So, for every single vertex on this side, you have a matching edge that connects it to the other side. Right? And also, you can't have any other unsaturated vertices here, right? Because that would again be an augmenting path, right? It is a path that starts at U and it ends at this vertex if there is any unsaturated vertex, right? And that is again not possible. Since G has no M augmenting path, each vertex in the set Z, I could have actually said this very early. Yeah, each vertex in the set Z is M saturated. Otherwise, you have an M augmenting path, right? In the set Z minus U, because we are starting at the vertex U, right? And these two facts basically imply that the Z intersection Y set has size exactly Z intersection X minus 1. Okay, so actually your matching looks very nice with respect to this drawing. All of these vertices are matched here, and the remaining matching edges will be on the other side. We don't know the other side, but we just know that all the matching edges have to be restricted to the two sides. Either they are on the left side or they are on the right side. And all of these edges, cross edges, are non-matching edges as a consequence. Or you can prove that first. Okay. So these facts imply that S equal to Z intersection X is a deficient set. Okay. Are there any questions or concerns regarding this proof? Right. Okay. So in the remaining few minutes, I want to tell you a quick corollary of this. So let's see, this is corollary 16.5, I think. Yeah. So now you can ask the question, when does a bipartite graph have a perfect matching? Well, what will a perfect matching do? It will saturate all the vertices in X and it will saturate all the vertices in Y, right? So that just means that you need this condition and you need that Y has exactly as many vertices as X. Okay? So that's it.
So mod X will be equal to mod Y.
Exactly. A bipartite graph
So mod X will
GXY.
be equal to
Sorry?
yeah, mod Y.
Yeah.
So basically mod X must be equal to mod Y, and in addition we have the Hall's condition.
Exactly. Exactly.
Then
It has a
only can I
perfect
have
matching. So when I say PM, I mean perfect matching. If and only if cardinality of X is exactly equal to cardinality of Y, and for every subset of X, the neighborhood of it's the set has size at least the size of the set. Okay, and you might, if you're seeing this for the first time, you might say, why is it for X, why not for Y? Well, it's symmetric. So if you find such a set, if you find a deficient set in the set X, you will also find a deficient set in the set Y. Okay, I'll leave that as an exercise. So do it yourself. In the case you have a bipartite graph with X equal to Y, prove that X has a deficient set if and only if Y has a deficient set. Okay, so it's a symmetric thing in this case. All right.
I think it is very easy to follow because if X has a
Yes, it is
deficient
very
set,
easy. I
then
don't want to
by
discuss it. It's a
all-
do-it-yourself problem. I want everybody to think about it. Okay, it is quite easy. You're right. All right, good. So, in the remaining 3 4 minutes, I just want to tell you a more algorithmic way of thinking about Hall's theorem. Okay. So, if you wanted to find a maximum matching or a matching which saturates X, right? How would you go about doing that? So, there is a more algorithmic way of thinking about this proof. Okay. What you do is the following. In
So,
our proof, yeah, go
so
ahead.
are you going to introduce flow network?
No, 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 no. I'm
Because you
talking
can find it.
about, I'm not going into flows. I'm not going into flows here. I want to think about this proof in a more algorithmic fashion, right? We don't have time to go into flows in
Okay.
this course. Okay. So I want
Okay.
to
Okay.
basically give you an alternative viewpoint or an algorithmic viewpoint for the proof of Hall's theorem, right? So you can turn it into a polynomial time algorithm if you like. I won't talk about the time complexity. I'll just tell you about the way of thinking about it in an algorithmic fashion. Okay. So let's pick a vertex u. So consider u in x, that is m exposed, right? As we did in the proof. So what you do is you construct a tree. Okay. You construct a tree in the following fashion. It's like a breadth first search tree. So you look at all the neighbors of u. Okay, right? U is M exposed, so all of these are going to be non-matching edges, right? And because the graph does not have any M augmenting path, it means that all of these vertices have to be matched vertices. All of these are M covered vertices. Okay, otherwise this would not be a maximum matching. Okay, so for all of these vertices, you will be able to see a matching edge, and in the tree, you take only the matching edges. Okay, so this is level 0. So you can think of it as level 0, level 1, level 2.
So,
Go ahead.
so similarly, in level 2, we'll have all M exposed.
No, they are all M covered because they are coming by matching edges. Right? If
No,
this
no,
is
no.
a
In
matching
level 1, we
edge,
have M covered. But
this is a matching edge. So the level 2 vertex you see is also matched, right? This vertex is matched.
yeah. I got it.
Right? Okay. The only M exposed vertex will be actually the vertex U in our discussion. The graph may have more M exposed vertices, but in the discussion we are doing right now, all the vertices we will find by this tree will actually be M covered vertices. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of this as, so U is
Okay,
an
so
X,
is
right?
this because
Hmm.
so is this because otherwise we have an aim augmenting path, which can't be the case.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
So this tree we are constructing is called an M alternating tree, but I'm not going to write down the definition here. I'm just trying to explain to you the idea behind it. Okay. So this is going to be an M alternating tree rooted at U. Okay. U is the root. So when you look at level 1, these vertices are not in X. These vertices are in Y. Okay, and then level 2, these vertices are all in X, right? Now when you reach level 2, so whenever you reach an even level, you take all the edges that are not yet covered in your tree. Okay, so there could be more edges, something like this, and maybe this vertex, maybe there are no edges, all the edges go back into the tree. Okay, so then we can't take those edges because we'll get a cycle. Okay, so now you look at this set. This is your level 3, And because you are at an odd level, now you only take the matching edges. At odd level, only take the M edges. Okay? And at even level, take non-M edges, non-matching edges. Okay, so we are constructing this tree. So if you have any more matching edges, then it will look like this. Okay? And in fact, you will have to have matching edges because otherwise you'll get an augmenting path. So what happens is, the only time you can stop constructing this tree further is actually at an even level. Okay? Whenever you are at an odd level, you will be able to take a matching edge and you will be able to build the tree further. So the point where you stop, it has to be an even level. Okay? And now observe what is happening in this tree. The number of x vertices is exactly one more than the number of y vertices that we have found. So the x vertices are exactly your set S, and the y vertices are exactly the neighborhood of that set. When you can't build the tree any further, it is because all the neighbors of these vertices are already covered in this tree. Okay? And that is why you are not able to build the tree any further. Okay? So the even levels, that is a set S, and the odd levels is the set which is the neighborhood of S. Okay? And you observe that the neighborhood of S is exactly one less than S. Okay, so this is an algorithmic way of getting such a set. You build an M alternating tree rooted at any M exposed vertex. Okay, and if you follow the steps in this way, at some point you will stop. At some point you will not be able to build the tree anymore. And at that point you can prove that the even level vertices are exactly a deficient set. And this is just an algorithmic way of thinking about the same proof that we covered. Okay, so in this way you can keep finding M augmenting. So you can modify this idea to find M augmenting paths. And the moment you cannot find an M augmenting path, you will get a deficient set, and that will prove that you have a maximum matching. Okay, so you can convert this discussion into a complete algorithm for finding a maximum matching in a bipartite graph. There are other ways to do it, like using flows, but this is one very simple way to do it. Very combinatorial or graph theoretical way of doing it.
So just curious, what is the
Hmm.
fastest known algorithm for bipartite matching?
I don't know the time complexity of the fastest algorithm, but I think last time we were
So
discussing
I
and
think
Ananya
it
had some
is,
answer.
yeah, means I think it is Hopcroft-Karp algorithm. It runs in order n to the power 2.5.
N to the power
Yeah,
2.5.
but that, yeah, but that is means, so in that algorithm there is significant difference between the flow, because in flow in one step we find a single augmenting path,
Hmm.
but when we come to Hopcroft-Karp, at a single iteration we find a maximal family of Barton disjoint of augmenting paths, and all we augment them at the
I
same time.
see. Right. So you
But
find lots of
essentially
augmenting paths
its
at one
analysis,
time and you augment on all of them.
exactly. But its analysis is fairly pretty much complicated.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, I don't know much about these things, but I guess we have others who know about these things. Anyways, the lecture is officially over. This algorithmic discussion is, anyways, not too crucial for this course. I just thought that I should tell you about it because it's quite easy and intuitive. So, if there are any questions or concerns, please ask them. And I'm still here for another 5 minutes.
So sir, is the class over?
Yeah. The lecture is officially over. Yeah, I'm just here in case there are any questions. Maybe I'll stop recording now. Yeah.
Okay. So sir, I am leaving, sir. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.